Hello and welcome to another video regarding 50 builds, and today we're going to be covering up Heavy Gunner. Heavy Gunner's been really amazing and really fun to play with. Heavy Gunner is definitely up there in DPS as well, and I would recommend playing it if you enjoy playing a ranged class. Obviously it's somewhat similar to Archer, but you do have a lot more active skills that you can use to burst down and or do a lot of AoE damage in comparison. The only downside is the Heavy Gunner does not have any raid utility such as Sharp Eye from Archer, but it does have homing rockets, which could be used to easen up the battles if you do the jump shots with it, and that's more for the advanced strategy. So going off with build, we are gonna cover up a little bit about dexterity and crit. In my opinion, I feel like dexterity is probably going to be better. In my opinion, it does increase your accuracy and your damage as well for Archer, Heavy Gunner, and it says Striker there as well, but yeah, Strike is going to use dexterity as well in the future. So go all in on dexterity, nothing on critical, because there's no point in using a critical when you can get 2 stats or even 3, because it gives you a little bit of physical resistance, but it gives you 3 stats in a main stat, so it's probably better to do that than just pumping everything on critical. I would also cover up a little bit more about the equipments. If you are getting your character to level 50 at the beginning and you're trying to get to 1.5k, my suggestion is to do the body piece. It's easier for classes that use a suit, but if you have a class that has top and bottom, upgrade your top to +7 and your weapon to +7, which is level 48 that you get from the missions or epic quest or main story, if you want to call that. So gear score is really important at the very start if you don't want to use up your daily dungeons. And when I mean with +7, it's these scrolls that you get. I know this says 20 to 39, but you do get 2 scrolls for level 20 to 49, and you use those for the weapon over here and the armor over here. And that will net you, once you finish the main story quest up to 50, you are gonna get all the equipments to get a higher gear score, enough gear score to get 1.5k. Now, for the builds, there's a glitch or a bug at the moment regarding Electric Blast, the laser beam. You can't charge this ability anymore, and that kind of sucks because that's a really high damaging skill that you can do. They apparently made it so that you can't charge anymore, so you're only using it for the initial proc of it. It's similar to Screwdriver Shot as Archer for now. I would not recommend Blast Charge Kit, because this turns the skill into a spammable skill, so you can use it 3 times before you go out of Spirit. I would rather just have it by itself. Another thing I would recommend is do not max out Gatling Fire. I know it sounds like it's a great skill at the beginning when you level up. It consumes quite a lot of Spirit. You'll end up, I guess it's okay for leveling, but I would just recommend it on 3 for the requirement for lockdown. It has some usage when you want to clear out AoEs or a lot of mobs by using AoEs. But once you unlock Magnetic Bomb, Rocket Launcher, and Lock-On, for example, or M-Bomb even, you're going to do a lot more AoE damage with these skills than Gatling Fire. So spending all your points into your main ability or main first ability, your single target DPS, Bullet Spray, max that out. It may sound like you're spreading out the the weapon, the skill or whatever, but it's actually similar name to this, Gatling Fire, because you're just shooting straight ahead with all your bullets that you have stored up magically. But yeah, this is your main DPS, so max it out. Lock-On, I would say 5+. I mean, you only need to have it enough so that you feel like you have a good damage for every 12 seconds. I tried to max this up because I do not see myself putting more points into the magnetic bomb or anything else at the moment. I will explain a little bit more about it, and the reason for that is I'm quite minimalistic when it comes to active skills. I do not want to use too much skills myself, because you have to manually reload as heavy gunner to regain your spirit. So I'm trying to use try to use as much skills, but at the same time fill in as much spirit usage before I have to reload. And I feel like this benefits the most when it comes to the skill build I've picked right now. Anyways, stun grenades, you only use it 4 points into it to unlock the suborbital bombardment. This skill is going to be macroed, likewise I think with the bullet spray, so you don't have to actively use this. Stun grenades, I rarely use it. It doesn't really, I mean, it costs spirit, it stuns enemies, but you won't be able to stun bosses, so it's a bit meh. You don't have to use it. I don't have it on my hotbar. Rocket launcher might be really great, but I prefer spending all my points into the the energy build, I would say, rather than going with the explosive build. Rocket launcher has a wind up. It does have a knockback as well. It's fun to use. It's really great when you level up. So if I would recommend a leveling build, it would be something like, let's see, it would be something like this. Something like this. So if you do a leveling build, I would recommend having most of your skills unlocked, because then you have variety of using them, but as well as you have a lot of AoE damage that you can use. You will empty out your spirit fairly quickly because you have so many skills to use, but having rocket launcher for that AoE damage, and the dots on the floor burns the enemy, keep them in the fire. You also have homing missile, which is your single target damage that you can macro in with bullet spray and with suborbital bombardment, and then having M-Bob as a finisher to drop down a huge bomb. If you play Mush King Royale, it's similar. You drop it on the enemy, deals a hit, initial hit, it deals quite low, but then the second hit is a lot more damage when it explodes. But for magnetic bomb, I would say it's a key skill that you want to have. You pulse enemies together, and it's a great tool to utilize or wombo combo with every other skills. And then lock on, you may think it's a single target because of Mush King Royale, but it's actually a piercing skill, and it pierces up to 8 enemies, I believe. Yeah, it says 8 times. I think it depends on the, or maybe not. But yeah, it pierces enemies. Really great skill for AoE, I guess, or cone damage. So using this skill as a max, because the damage itself is higher than the other skills when it comes to AoE damage. So lock on is definitely something you want to focus on or fill in whenever you don't have any other skills to spend on. And as for last, medkit. It might not be the best skill that you want to use when you raid or do the endgame dungeons, but it does save people, and that's why I picked it. The reason for that is you save a lot of potions when you play or when you progress. It's definitely not something I would recommend in the long run, but play around with it. I find it quite fun to use, because you can do a trick. So if you place it down, if someone stacks with you and this opens up, both of you will get healed up, including, depending on how many people are stacking up, you are going to be able to heal everyone if everyone stacks on it. And if you don't have any priests in your party, well, you can be a supportive DPS as a heavy gunner. Put the medkit down every 20 seconds to heal everyone up. That's my recommendation. This would be leveling build, obviously, as you can see over here. I'm probably gonna switch back now and show you the end game I was thinking about, and that's to max out the laser beam and putting 1 point into advanced pulse weapon, which upgrades the field and damage output, etc, etc. And it also upgrades, I believe, let's see, if you have pulse energy upgrade, the enhanced laser deals additional 31% electric damage. So this is kind of optional, or not optional, but it's mandatory to have advanced pulse weapon to upgrade your suborbital bombardment as well. So that's why I put 1 point in it, because I don't have any more skills to spend. But I would recommend, if you do have trophies and level 60, lock on is probably something you want to spend on, because it deals quite a lot of damage. When electric blast is being fixed, this is going to deal a lot of damage as well when you charge it up. So yeah, the build would be the pulse build, I would call it. And what you do is you start off with the magnetic bomb, pull everything in, or if there's single target, you just use it anyways because it deals some damage. And then I would recommend using the lock on for the high damage, and then because they're all grouped up and it's easier for you to pierce them then with the lock on. And then you use electric blast afterwards to charge it, or to just tap it for now because it's glitched, to deal a high amount of damage. And then you macro with your bullet spray and with your suborbital bombardment. So those two skills on the macro would be, yeah, these two. So every time you hold down your auto attack, when you have 0 spirit or everything is on cooldown, you're gonna summon a suborbital bombardment, or as I call it, alien or UFO. It will proc it will activate every 30 seconds when you hold down your bullet spray. So that's my build for heavy gunner. I hope it wasn't really too much of a complicated build. Definitely a fun class. Try it out. It's one of my favorites, along with Berserker and Archer. As for DPS, that is. So feel free to give it a try. It's really fun once you unlock a little bit more skill. It does become a little bit more of a turret style, or you're standing in distance and just shooting. But playing with medic, it's quite fun if you don't have any priests, because you can then jump in and save your party members. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it wasn't too bad of a build. I know I might butcher heavy gunner at the moment, but feel free to comment down below regarding your skill builds, and I'll look it up and see if I can agree with you, or have a conversation or discuss about heavy gunners endgame builds. But for now, thank you very much for watching. The next video will be either a new dungeon that I attempt. I probably have attempted a few of them, but it's gonna be a dungeon video, so you can see how I clear it or complete it, as well as Runeblader skill build at level 50 whenever I get that class to 50. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys